Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on September 28, 2020, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. To keep our residents safe and abide by the latest state regulations and CDC information, we are bringing this meeting to you through Zoom. This meeting will run just like any other council meeting. Our multimedia director will be the Zoom administrator throughout the meeting. You will still be able to comment during the public comment sessions. When the time comes, you can click on the raise hand button, or if you are here by telephone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand. Our multimedia director will then unmute each person one at a time so you may speak. Please remember to state in your name and address before speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, April. If everybody could join me in saluting the flag of our great nation in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And just a moment of silence for our troops, their families, all our first responders, and all the healthcare workers that have been taking care of everybody during this pandemic. And I just would like to say that since our last meeting, our Captain Cox's father, John Cox, have passed away, and longtime police officer who worked in Belmar, Steve Bilecki, has passed away. Thank you. I don't have much for workshop tonight. I don't know if anybody else does, but we have a retirement of our DPW director, Mike Campbell. I just want to bring it up during workshop. I just want to congratulate him on his retirement. He put his heart and soul into Belmar, and I do appreciate everything that he did while he was DPW director, and we want to wish him the best in his retirement. The only other thing that we have that should be on for the next meeting is, I think we're just about finished up with civil service and straightening out all the positions that needed to be straightened out. We've been working with civil service and putting that all together, so that should be on for first reading next month. Other than that, I really don't have anything else for workshop unless anybody else does. Okay. Seeing none, we have one proclamation tonight, and Councilman Juan, if you could handle that for us.
Yes, Mayor. Proclamation designating the month of October in each year as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month educates women about the importance of early detection for breast cancer. Since National Breast Cancer Awareness Month's inception, mammography use has doubled. The breast cancer death rates have declined. Still, many women do not have mammographies at regular intervals. Whereas in recognition of the fact that mammography is the best available method of detecting breast cancer that may be breast changes that may be cancer, long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt, and that breast cancer deaths would decline further if all women ages 40 and older receive mammograms at regular intervals. Whereas October 2020 marks the 36th anniversary of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is dedicated to increasing awareness of breast cancer issues, especially the importance of early detection. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All women and their families in the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, and State of New Jersey are urged to get the facts about mammography and breast cancer detection. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Juan. Moving on to petitions. April, we have any?
No, we do not.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 15th meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Juan,
Yes.
Councilman Brennan,
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli,
Abstain.
Councilman McCracken,
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer.
Yes. Reports of council. Councilman Carvelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing that I have is I was running down the block the other day and I saw a refrigerator put to the curb with the doors on. And I just wanted to remind everybody that when you do that, you have to take the doors off. It's dangerous. Kids can get trapped in there. And then I later found out it's actually, there's like I guess an offense that goes along with it. I'm not really sure, but it's more than just it sounded like it was more than just a fine. I don't have all the details, but just a reminder on that, safety first when it comes to throwing refrigerators and freezers away. So that is my report for the week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman McCracken.
Thank you, Mayor. Just prior to this meeting, the Belmar Housing Authority met. The meeting was moved from yesterday to today at 5:15. There are 2 units becoming available, one on November 1st, the other one on December 1st. And both of those units have been filled with candidates who were on the waiting list. Bids are currently out for the roof. They've had about 12 contractors contact the Housing Authority for the bid specs. And I didn't get the exact date, but in mid-October, those specs will be open and that contract awarded. Once the roof is completed, being replaced, the parking lot will be paved and restriped. So that side of the Housing Authority over there on 7th Avenue will really look great. COVID precautions are still being implemented, and the state has approved the preliminary budget that we sent them, so that will be on our agenda to approve at the next Housing Authority meeting, the first Monday of November. So everything is moving along well at the Housing Authority. The Shade Tree Commission met on September 23rd. The next meeting is the third Wednesday in October. And tonight on the agenda, you'll see first reading for an ordinance regarding invasive species. So if the council passes that tonight at first reading, that will go to the Shade Tree Commission for review and comment. Presently, in conjunction with the invasive species ordinance, there is also a tree inventory going on in town, by volunteers, identifying trees that will create a hazard. Either they're dead or they have limbs that need to be trimmed or whatever, and that inventory will be compiled by the Shade Tree Commission and then discussed for further consideration. And lastly, I understand the type of government that we have, where you have the mayor, who's sort of the chief executive, and the council that's sort of a legislative body. But I have been getting a lot of feedback from residents throughout town regarding benches on the boardwalk. I do see that other towns, Avon and Bradley, have restored some or all of their benches on the boardwalk. Certainly our top priority as a municipality and for the Office of Emergency Management has to keep our residents safe, and that has been the top priority since this COVID crisis hit. And it's not, I understand fully, it's not a perfect science. What's important in this is that people have the same objective, which I think we all do on the council, and that's to keep our residents safe. But I would just like the Office of Emergency Management to at least consider perhaps directing the Department of Public Works to put maybe just one bench on the boardwalk, maybe one at each gate or one at every other gate, or something like that. We do have nice days. We do have people with physical impairments. We do have senior citizens who would like to enjoy the boardwalk and look at the ocean. And I think, without compromising public safety, if there was a minimum amount of seating that could be placed in strategic areas to allow people to take a break and enjoy some of this nicer weather we have, I would appreciate it if the OEM could take that into consideration.
Yeah, we were taking a look at putting some strategic benches back onto the boardwalk, like in some of the cutouts and stuff like that. But the way we took them off, where they're all numbered so that they go back in the exact same way that they went on, we would have to start and to get them all back in the right place, because that was a big issue for us to make sure that all the name benches went exactly back to where they were. So, but we just allowed bicycles back up on the boardwalk. So I know OEM, we've been talking about it. So we're watching it every day. If it looks like the bicycles and the people are all right, we're going to start to look to put them back up there.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Wan.
Thank you, Mayor. At the end of the month, on October 29th, we're going to have an ADA meeting with a guest speaker regarding Alzheimer's. We've been having our meetings at McCleary Park, but I think by the 29th, it's going to be a little cool. So where we're going to hold the meeting will be, we're looking into it. I spoke to the mayor about it, and we'll let you know when and who the name of the guest speaker and the program for the evening. It should be very interesting. Mayor, I would like to say something about Ordinance 2020-36 that's on for tonight. This is kind of close to my heart. It's been a tough summer, extremely difficult for a lot of residents with some of the rentals. I've spoken to many residents this summer who were very upset and who were affected by this, myself included. Back in August, I began to speak with the mayor, with Ed Kirschenbaum, and with code enforcement, Fran Sonneborn, regarding this problem. We began to look back at the state statutes and the Belmar codes, because we have to see what we could do that works within these laws. As a result, the mayor, Mr. Kirschenbaum, Fran Sonneborn, and myself, we met with Borough Attorney Jerry Dasty to discuss this problem, and we've come up with this ordinance for tonight. And a big help in helping us come to this was the final reports we got from the community policing. The community policing was really helpful this summer. The reports that were taken, and we have a list of the animal houses and many of the houses who received numerous tickets and code enforcement tickets. So that was a big help. So we came up with this ordinance, which is just a beginning of what we're going to do to get on this problem. This has been a big problem for a long time, and we've tackled it. We've got some information. We're changing, adding something to this ordinance. We've all worked very hard on this, and we will continue to meet throughout the winter, so that when the summer comes, when these residents, when our guests appear again, we'll be ready for them. And just show them that, yeah, Belmar welcomes visitors, but please don't destroy the town. Don't think you can come in here and act like idiots, or shall I say what the governor says, knuckleheads. We're going to be on top of it. And we need to protect our residents, because the quality of life for our residents is really important to us. And it's been a high priority the last couple of months for us. I guess we've been a little quiet about it, but we've been working behind the scenes for a while. So hopefully it's the beginning of a good summer for next year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Council President Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few things. My former student, Jackie Manchala Ramirez, we're still doing fundraising for her. You can go to the GoFundMe.com page and search for Help Jackie Beat Stage 4 Cancer. Ayuda para Jackie. Again, she's a wonderful child, worked with a wonderful family with a really, really bad piece of luck. And anything we can do to help them out, if you haven't given yet, please donate. If you already have and you can do so again, please do. They could use every dime. All right. It just chokes me up every time I think about it. There's a lot of, there have been a lot of fundraising events, you know, trying to keep the community involved, but every dime would really help this family out. Second thing, I want to say how gratified I am. I'm with Councilwoman Wan. We heard a lot this summer about the problems with the Animal House ordinance. We started talking about it last week, and the fact that we moved, the last meeting, and the fact that we moved so quickly, I'm really gratified for that. The idea, we have to be able to hit these landlords with, in their mercantile license. If they feel like they're going to get their license yanked and they won't be able to make the income that they're counting on, well, then maybe they'll actually be responsible for the conduct of their tenants. Or maybe they'll see the wisdom of switching to weekly rentals and not deal with that whole summer crowd. Wouldn't that be lovely? So I'm very, again, gratified that this is what we're going to be voting on tonight. And I also want to thank Councilman McCracken for bringing up that comment, because I took a ride today because I didn't believe what some people had told me. You know, Belmar's been really good about working with Trenton. I think back to our beach plan in the beginning of the summer. We're playing by the rules. We're doing what they're telling us to do. We come up with a plan that they like, and then the towns around us just seem to do whatever they want, and Belmar's residents suffer for it. And it seems like the same kind of thing is happening with the benches. We're waiting for the governor to lift that executive order for the state of emergency for the social distancing, and meanwhile, Spring Lake's got their benches out. I couldn't believe it. Avon's got their benches. Bradley Beach is crazy with benches. Ocean Grove, all the way down into Asbury Park. I couldn't believe every single town. So I understand that it's a big job to put all those benches back. I understand that. But if there's any way we could even put a limited number back, like the Councilman McCracken was saying, it would really be, you know, it really would be beneficial to our residents. I'm getting this deja vu all over again feeling, again, because it feels like we're playing by the rules, but the other towns aren't, and we're suffering for it. So that's my report. Thank you very much.
I'm with you, but you know, like we said, we allowed the bicycles back on, so our Office of Emergency Management's watching it. If it looks like our boardwalk's not packing up, like probably on this weekend, we'll probably really start to look to put them back.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you. I really don't have too much either. I mean, there's been a lot of meetings, but nothing really that's finalized yet. The one thing I do want to say is it's nice to see everybody using the ballot box right outside. There's been a lot of people using it, so hopefully that works out well. The ballots are out, so if encourage everybody to vote. But other than that, we have our building here was power washed. Parts of it were painted and all cleaned up, and trying to get everything cleaned up around Borough Hall. So I want to thank DPW for doing all that. So, but that's all I have. So we will move on to the consent agenda public hearing, right, April?
So this is public session on the resolutions only. If someone would like to speak on them, click the raise hand button or dial *9 if you're on the phone. And when you speak, remember to state your name and address.
All righty, stand by. And coming to Sal, one moment. Sal, go ahead.
How you doing, everybody? Please.
Turn your audio down, please.
Yes, it's done.
There you go. Thank you.
To Mayor and Council, you've already received my email stating my case. Longtime resident of Belmar, New Jersey. Since 1992.
Sal, can you state your name and address, please? State your name and address, please.
Sal Circelli, 107 Riverview Avenue, Neptune City, New Jersey. Again, you've already received my email stating my case. Since 1992, I live by an oath, Semper Fidelis, which means always faithful. In a town I grew up and loved, I feel very cheated. Again, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gerald, coming to you. Gerald, go ahead.
Hi, this is Gerry Buccafusco, 409 Fifth Avenue. I only have two, and they're really procedural comments that I'd like to make. First of all, Resolution 2020-181 is not in the materials, wasn't in the materials on the internet. So that's missing. And I would just like to note again for the minutes, this is a consent agenda, and in my opinion, Resolution 2020-183 does not belong on a consent agenda. It should be considered separately. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheri, one moment, coming to you. Cheri, go ahead.
Hello,
Can I hear you? Go ahead. State name.
Cheri Russo, 1218 Briarwood Road in Belmar. The way Sal has been treated by this administration is an embarrassment to us residents. Maybe you all just do not know how to run a town, and that is why you are firing an exemplary employee like Sal. Put whatever egos you have that are causing you to so badly mismanage our town aside and do the right thing and bring Sal back. Also, I want to say to Sal, my father was also a former Marine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And coming to Fran.
Unmute. Hi.
Go ahead.
Fran Sonneborn. I'm at 509 6th Avenue. I would like to just express, since it's fresh in our minds post-summer, we sit on 3rd Avenue Beach. That's where our beach locker is. It's been for as long as they've been on the beach.
Excuse me, Fran, is this any part of the consent agenda? A public session for anything else will be at the end of the meeting? Not to cut you off. Are you commenting on any of our resolutions right now? Because that's what
I have no idea because I didn't see the resolutions.
Oh, well, that's what everybody's commenting on now. The public session will be at the end of the meeting.
Okay, then I'll jump on at the public session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fran. Just make sure you raise your hand again when we get to that session.
Sure.
One moment. Coming to Linda.
Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. Could somebody on the council elaborate on the process by which Sal was evaluated and what this what the position of a hearing officer is? I don't really understand the process that was applied to his dismissal.
Mr. Dasty, would you like to comment on that?
Sure, Mayor. Pursuant to the civil service regulations, as well as our own code, personnel code, allegations that were made against an borough employee are the subject to a hearing by an independent hearing officer, not a borough employee, and someone who's well versed in this type of service and is independent. That gentleman prepared, I'm thinking about a 12 or 13 page report with recommendations to the mayor and council. He doesn't make the decision. That person recommends whatever the situation might be. So there was a full hearing. The employee was represented by his union rep, certainly had the right to retain counsel. I hope that answers your questions about the procedure of it.
So it was my understanding that Sal was out on disability, but that was his understanding when this whole this whole problem was created. Would you care to comment on that?
No, I don't. I was not there. I did not handle the
All right,
hearing.
then somebody else on the council could speak to this issue? Because it's really, it's a shame to lose a good employee, and the rest of us are kind of in the dark.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it's important for all your employees to understand the grounds for dismissal, and the people in the audience or in the borough to understand that as well.
Okay, well, since this employee has,
Yeah, if I could just jump in for a minute, if you could just explain that the issue with the employee happened in April, and then it was he requested the hearing to bring it to this point, but the whole procedure happened in April.
yes, I mean, the allegations arose 6 months ago, whatever April would have been. Since the employee now has decided to go public, which is his right, I see no reason that we cannot, if requested, release the hearing officer's report tomorrow if there's an Oprah request. But we were precluded and restrained from doing so until this resolution is resolved, one way or the other, tonight, in order to protect the employee's rights. So all the council have reviewed the report. They all have it. And it's their determination whether to accept the hearing officer's recommendations or not. So the report detailing what the hearing officer's recommendations are all about is available tomorrow.
Okay, I look forward to reading it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you postpone the vote until the people in the audience have a chance to review it.
All right, thank you. And I see no hands on my end.
Okay, April.
Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the 3 resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Juan?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
I have read the third-party hearing officer's report. I've read it completely, and sadly, I have to vote yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have ordinances. We have first reading and introduction on ordinance 2020-35. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 31 regarding invasive species. Do we have a motion to offer for first reading?
April, I'd like to make that motion, please.
Sure. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Councilwoman Juan?
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli?
I'm going to vote yes on this, but I seem to remember something about the tree of heaven being an invasive species as well, and I didn't see that in the list. Is that
Tom, so
something
that's something. So once this is released tonight, the Shade Tree Commission is going to do a more thorough review. It didn't specifically say tree of heaven. I haven't had the time to look to see if some of those Latin terms refer to that. Obviously, there's a blanket language in there that would cover that type of species, but I suspect that might be one of the suggestions we at the Shade Tree Commission make to the council.
Yeah, so I obviously have the blanket coverage in there, but if there's anything that is native to this area, I think it would be helpful to call out as much of it as specifically possible.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Carvelli, it's a good point. We are doing it on first reading this evening, and because there are so many different plants, and if you try to mention all of them with specificity, the one you don't mention is the one there's going to be a violation about. So, but if there are more suggestions, we could always add those on before at the time of second reading, because that would not be a material change.
Understood. Yep, that's what I figured. So thank you. Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
And Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Okay, next is first reading and introduction, ordinance 2020-36. This is an ordinance amending chapter 26-11. We have a motion to offer for first reading.
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Juan,
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli,
Yes.
Councilman McCracken,
Yes.
Councilman Brennan,
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer.
Yes.
And then we have ordinance 2020-37 for first reading and introduction, and ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 40, development regulations regarding fees. Do we have a motion to approve for
Make
first
a
reading?
motion.
Second?
Councilman Juan,
Yes.
Councilman Carvelli,
Yes.
Councilman McCracken,
Yes.
Councilman Brennan,
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer.
Yes.
All right, the next is
Okay.
public session.
We're going to public session.
Okay, stand by. Coming to Kathleen, stand by. Kathleen, you there?
Here.
Go ahead.
My name is Kathleen Brady. I'm at 511 7th Avenue in Belmar. I wanted to get some comment from all of you about the outrageous water bills that we've all received for this quarter. I want to thank Councilman Brennan and Mr. Kirschenbaum for explaining to me what has happened. And I just, my understanding, which I'd like to just some conversation about here, was that there was an issue over the years with the water meters. And now they've gone back 3 years and read the water meters and have charged us kind of backdated for the water we've used to this date. It seems odd to me that no one can tell me how much water I've used in each of the separate years, and now I'm being charged for 3 years worth of water for a town error on your newly approved 15% higher water rates. So I'm just trying to find some clarity around, I understand I've used this water and it needs to be backdated, but it seems to me for you guys to go back 3 years in the middle of a pandemic without any warning or kind of conversation with people that that's what you were doing, you've put a lot of people in a very difficult financial situation. And the initial conversation I had was with someone there was simply, well, that's what the meter said, which just doesn't seem like I'm just frustrated by this and would like a little bit more dialogue around this and how we could, there's got to be something that you can do to not be charging me this 15% rate for 3 years worth of water. So I don't understand what your thought process was, and I would welcome the opportunity to learn more about what you were thinking.
Well, I know there's a few people that are in the same situation as you, but each one is unique. So my only suggestion is you're going to have to sit down with the business administrator and the people in the water department and find out why and what the process, what the problems were with your meter. I thought they were taking the lowest read for a quarter and then just multiplying it out, but you're not alone in this situation. There's a few people there, but I don't have the paperwork in front of me to see what your exact situation is. So if you get together with the business administrator and our water department, maybe they could exactly tell you how they come to those rates or come to that conclusion.
Is there not a standard that you're applying to everyone? There's got to be.
Oh, absolutely there is. Yeah. Yes.
So
yes.
I don't understand what the standard is. How
The
could you go back
all the
3 years?
meters are operating differently. So I don't know exactly what your situation was, but you're going to have to talk to our business administrator.
That's a very unsatisfactory answer given the level of people who are having issues. I want to know why the meters weren't working. I want to know how you can go back 3 years.
I think there's 24, right? 24 we have out of the town.
I'm not sure the exact number. I can tell you that there's a mechanism in place now that will allow us to understand when there's a zero read or a no read. Kathleen, I'm looking at your situation. Kelly's been out trying to get all the paperwork together and see exactly what happened. You were paying the minimum rate for 3 years. paying the minimum rate every quarter should have set off a buzz in your head that you were just paying, I think, $76.37 or whatever it was. So I'm trying to see what your actual read was. We're working on you plus a few other people. It goes back to prior to us being here. Once we found out that there was problems, there was not a mechanism in place that would allow us to understand that there was a no read or a zero read. We fixed the problem in our admin's console in our record keeping area. And we now know that when we do get a situation like this, that we can notify the homeowner within a quarter. So I'm looking at your paperwork. I'm trying to get everything together to get you an accurate figure. The reason why, like, you pay a higher amount now after 3 years is because we were just paying the minimum over those 3 years, every single quarter.
Yeah, but if the bill had been paid or if I had been billed properly, then I would have been paying a lower rate for 2017 and 18, right? I mean, the rates have just gone up. So at the very least, the bill should be 15% less than it is.
Mr. Gerald, is the rate that she's paying on the back billed years, is the rate on those gallons what they were at that time, or is it the new rate?
I'm still waiting for the.
No. That is what it was. What she was paying at that time. That's what it is. It's not.
Right. So
it's not the new rate on those gallons.
Okay,
no.
and that's helpful to know. And that's sort of I understand that we all have slightly different issues, but that was not clear to me.
You were paying the old rate on those the prior year's gallons.
So you're looking into seeing how many gallons I used in each year to sort of come up with something?
Yes.
Okay. And as I'm waiting for you guys to do that, I'm not paying that bill. So am I now going to be charged a fee or can I pay the minimum while you're doing this? Or
I would suggest that you pay the bill so it doesn't incur interest. That's what I've been telling everybody. And then anything that comes up that may be different, we'll have to give a refund to that nature. We're just trying to get, we don't want to put anybody in harm's way with interest rates.
Yeah, but that the interest rate should be your cost. Why would I have to pay that cost? If I'm waiting for you, you could, how long, you could take the next 6 months.
Going forward, now that we have this mechanism in place, we'll know on each quarter if there's a problem with the meter and it'll get kicked out right away. So we won't have this problem again. But my suggestion is work with the business administrator. We'll work it out and, because I don't have anything in front of me right now.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And coming to look at my list to make this all fair.
Fran was asking questions, John, if you want to bring her in.
Yep, come back to Fran. That's correct. Thank you, Mayor. And Fran, when you're ready.
And I'm back.
There you go. Welcome back.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say, I know Chief Scott has dipped out of the picture, but I wanted to express my gratitude to the police force throughout the summer that they really demonstrated professionalism on the beach and in the surrounding neighborhoods. So kudos to the police department. Second, we are residents at 509 6th Avenue. And our beach locker is on 3rd Avenue. I want to just express again and again that I really hope we have a blue mat installed at the 3rd Avenue entrance. This is a high traffic zone. Families congregate there, but also people with disabilities. This is a place where they will congregate because they can get to the bathroom easily. It would be a lot easier if we had a blue mat.
You will have one next year. You will have one next year.
Thank you, and that's wonderful news. Second, I wanted to also thank you for putting another lifeguard stand at the 2nd Avenue. And I just also want to express, and it may not be popular, but I really enjoyed not having the traffic of the summertime surf camp on 3rd Avenue. It really cut down on the access to the ocean. It shrunk the swimming area for families drastically in summers before. And so you really notice the difference this year. So I just want to put an exclamation point on that. If summertime surf could, we move northern to the 2nd Avenue area, because they do creep down. I just think it's something that should be taken into serious consideration.
Okay.
And that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. And we're coming to Jen, stand by. Jen, are you there?
Yes, hi. Jen DeBlasio, 307 9th Ave, Belmar. I've been told that I have missed meetings about bringing our benches back. And I'm wondering if you can revisit this for the winter season for the residents. For various reasons. My main point is one, because many of them have been dedicated to lost ones, and it's a place we want to go and need to go. I run the boards a lot, and it's been very quiet. I don't think it's an issue when it comes to the social distance, and I was wondering where you guys stand on that.
Well, as of right now, we just allowed bicycles back on the boardwalk, so we're watching it daily. If it doesn't look like it's going to be too congested, we're going to start looking to put the benches back.
Thank you. That's what I was wondering. Okay, that would be wonderful.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're coming back around. Gerald, one moment. And go ahead, sir.
Hi again. I just wanted to make some comments on the ordinance 2036. And I know was up for first reading, but I saw a few things that I think, Mr. Dasty, you might want to look at before the next meeting, because I was slightly confused, and I don't want to have the ordinance lose its teeth, basically, because of some concerns I have. For example, I noticed that the definition of upon or in proximity has been added, and it means anywhere on the property or upon or within the adjacent right-of-way. What I thought of right-of-way was, well, what if somebody commits one of those acts on the street in front of the rental property, or commits the act on the property next door to the rental property? Is that then not meet the definition of upon or proximity to? I mean, I don't know if we want to close off our area of, let's say, that someone could be charged with a violation. And again, I don't know if there's a reason for that, but I just thought it was kind of limiting to, because I could see it happening that somebody will do something in the middle of the street or off the curb of the property, and would that prohibit then, them to qualify as a substantiated complaint? That's the first thing.
Well, I think that it's in there, because if it's happening right in front of the house in the street, but it's actually connected to that house, wouldn't that be something?
Well, with all
you
due
want to take a look
respect,
at?
with all due respect, Mr. Mayor, the definition says upon or within the adjacent right-of-way. Now, if I'm defending somebody and they're in the street, I'm going to say that's not the adjacent right-of-way.
Mr. Buccafusco, I'll look at it and I'll wait for your other comments, but it says that upon or proximate to that. So if they're on the curb or in the street, they are close to the, they're approximately near the front yard.
I don't want to disagree with you, but the whole point of the stuff that you added was to define what upon or in proximity to means. You can't define it.
I'll look at it again.
Go back and say, oh, well, it's broader than the definition, which is a concern that I have, because I'm sure we don't want to limit the area that this can be enforced. All right. So that was just something I thought might want to be cleared up before the ordinance is actually passed. The second thing is there were references to a substantive complaint having been substantiated by prosecution and conviction in any court of competent jurisdiction. And the question I have is that going to apply to guilty pleas that an offender will make when they pay a fine through the Violations Bureau? Because right now, and I'm looking at the Violations Bureau schedule for the town, there are borough ordinances on there for noise violation, urinate in public, loud stereo in public, alcohol in public, disorderly conduct, fighting, sleeping in vehicle. and all of those have set fines at $350, which means that an offender getting a ticket, let's say for urinating in public, can go to the Violations Bureau and pay that ticket. Now, is that going to be considered prosecution and conviction in any court of competent jurisdiction? I think we need to clear that up, or those items have to be removed from the Violations Bureau schedule.
Sir, and I think that from your resume, you were involved in the court system, so I think you know that if you plead guilty to something, the judge accepts your guilty plea. You're guilty. I mean, there's a judicial finding that you're guilty. So
it just seems a little ambiguous when you talk about prosecution and conviction. It probably wouldn't hurt to add or pled guilty through a violations request. Personally, I don't think those items should be payable through the Violations Bureau, because those are substantial offenses.
I'll look at
Why would you let somebody who's urinating in public pay a $350 fine and not appear before the judge? Right? But that's another issue. I just think it's ambiguous when you talk about prosecution, because if I'm pleading guilty, there is no prosecution. I pled guilty.
No, hold on. No, I don't agree with you, but I'll be glad to look at it and make sure that it's clear for the second reading.
My intent is only to make it clear so that we don't have problems in the future.
Understood.
That's my only intent.
That's a very good reason, and I'll look at it.
And also, in the last section, where you add the revocation or suspension of licenses, it uses the term results in convictions in municipal court. So that's another area I think you need to look at, whether a plea, through the Violations Bureau would be considered a conviction in the municipal court. You might want to take a look at that also.
I don't think, I'll look at it, sir. I don't see how you could interpret it any other way. If you stand in front of the judge and you plead guilty, you're convicted of that crime. But I'll be glad to look at it to make sure it's not.
My tact is always not to leave anything up to interpretation.
Oh, I don't see how it is, but I'll be glad to look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We are coming to Cheri. Cheri, go ahead. Cheri, you there?
Hello?
Yep, we hear you. Are you there?
All right, Cheri Russo, 1218 Briarwood Road in Belmar. I would like to talk about water. My water bill is outrageous and ridiculous. And talking with many other people in town, their water bills are also outrageous and ridiculous. This mayor and council need to explain why so many Belmar residents are getting crushed with these water bills and what you are going to do to solve this problem you created. Being that the water is so much higher in Belmar than in other towns, as I believe Administrator Kirschenbaum just said, it would not necessarily trigger someone to call. And also, let's be honest here, no one calls and asks, can I pay more than my billed amount? So that reasoning also sounds ridiculous to me. You also didn't use that reasoning when Marina Towers was never billed, so I don't see why all of a sudden it applies to us. Also, if these bills are from years past, it is unreasonable that middle-class families during COVID, where many people are out of work, and it is a pandemic, is very taxing on them, and I believe that's very unfair. I believe it's unfair to say to someone, oh, these bills are from many years past. It's a pandemic where we can't put benches on the boardwalk because we're having a pandemic and many people are out of work, yet we'll be charging you interest if you don't pay your bill in full right now. I think that is highly unreasonable, and I honestly don't understand the rationale of saying, well, we'll credit you later. You know, many middle-class families live in Belmar, and I'm unsure here if we're trying to drive them out of town by making everything so expensive for them. Thank you.
Mayor,
thank
you. This is Jim McCracken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not my understanding of what was said at all.
No, it's not.
There are certain outliers in town that are all individually unique, and that the borough administrator is going to work with everybody on an individual basis, make sure that their bill is correct, and work with them to make sure that that there's not any malfunctioning equipment moving forward.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. And to Linda.
Thank you. Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue.
Yes, hi,
Just
Linda.
wanted to, hello, everybody. As a Belmar Braver Angel, I'd like to bring to the attention of the residents of our town who are listening to this meeting tonight that the League of Women Voters is sponsoring a forum for our three council candidates, Tom Brennan, Jody Kinney, and Cheri Buccafusco will be answering questions in a public forum on Zoom. So if anybody is interested, please, on Facebook, there are the links for this, or they're welcome to reach out to me at sharkus@acquis.com. SHARKUS@ACQUIS.com. Thank you, and I hope everybody will sign in to listen tomorrow night at 6.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Linda. And Cheri, go again.
Hi, Cheri Russo, 1218 Briarwood Road in Belmar. I'm assuming that you muted me and I couldn't answer Councilman McCracken back. I was repeating what Administrator Kirschenbaum had said. He had said to the other person that spoke, her name Kathleen Brady, he said that she needs to pay her bill now so she doesn't accrue interest. So that's where I got that from, what he said during this meeting at this point in time. So that's what I'm going on. I'm not going on what was said to somebody else behind wherever. This is what was said during this meeting. I wrote that down, that he said, you know, you need to pay this now so you don't accumulate interest. And if you are, you know, we owe you a credit, we'll give that to you down the road. And she had talked about how that could be in 6 months, but he still said that, you know, we should pay it now. That's what I'm specifically talking about. I'm not specifically talking about which each individual person, you know's situation may possibly be. So I just wanted to clarify that. I see there was some misunderstanding on that.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Seeing no more hands.
Okay, April.
Can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.